Hi everyone, this is the thumbnail movie on how to create a thumbnail template, and before we get into it, which I really want to do right away, is I want to remind you that this is the stage 1 thumbnail stage where we have an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with your designs on it. This one is showing it in what another student did for me. I want to bring over a sheet that will help you maybe easier to see the process of putting your thumbnails on this sheet a little bit easier, and that I will accept a variety of different ways as long as, and I'm zooming in on this, as long as you're using clean lines, horizontal and vertical lines, and clean sheets of paper. And then my request to you is when you're finished to scan it in and to send me in the Canvas Dropbox, which I'll bring up into Canvas, where to actually submit those. Okay, so what I want to do first is click over to here, because what I've done is I've made, based on my theme, see this on the top, let me expand this out to a little bit more of a full screen, but to and put this on the screen. So my theme is zoos, lions and tigers and pandas. So those are my 3 subject matters under my main theme. What I've done, and I'll zoom in a little bit more if I can get this thing on screen. Let me go to 190, maybe a little bit less, maybe 185. I'm sorry for this, but let's go to, I just want to get everything on screen big enough to see. Okay, good. Now that I've shown you this, at least look at how I have, I'm going to go down a little smaller. Let me see what that does. I guess that's fine. Now that what I've done here is I've created my first version of how I'm going to accept these. Now this is of course based on a student's want and desire to do the thumbnails with 4 up on a sheet, where the final box, look at this final box over here on the bottom right, might include notes or information about what you're going to do within the assignments, which I'll show you what other students did there. But let's get into this, okay? So what I did was the first sheet is lions, the second sheet is my tigers, and the third sheet is my pandas. The design of A for lions, and I'll highlight that here, is going to be similar to the design A for tigers and the design A for pandas. The same thing with B and C. Now I will accept your sheet like that with no problem. Make sure it has trim marks on it and everything, but you'll see me actually do that in Adobe Illustrator. The second way that I will accept it is, let's do a sheet based on design A, where you have lions and tigers and pandas, and again that third box might include notes or information. So look at how I have design A on one sheet, lions and tigers and pandas, design B on the second sheet, again the same lions and tigers and pandas, and then design C. So either way is fine with me. And I'll include this, I'll be dropping this as example thumbnail A, B, and C into the week 4 design module, so you can see a different than this in the design assignment, or actually this one in the design assignment, really right here, that goes A, B, and C. That one actually follows the top version. Okay, so in the design assignment, this whole sheet is children, this whole sheet was graduates, and this whole sheet was live performance. Okay, so in mine, this whole sheet is lions, this whole sheet is tigers, this whole sheet is pandas. So let's not harp on that, but now let's go to the final, stage 2 tight thumbnail. You're going to choose one of your choices, is going to be either A, B, or C. Now she chose A of all of her designs, and she did change it from, she kept children, and she changed the other one to graduates, and the other one to, here she did graduates and live performance, I'm sorry. So she kept this the same, but in the final here, she did children, graduates became couples, and live performance became bands, and she even changed her orientation from landscape to portrait. So that, of course you can do that. There are many times changes are made from the initial thumbnail stage to the finished stage. What I wanted to do was to show you one from another student who in their tear sheet actually showed their ads. She did an ad based on travel, and she did another set here based on this resort and travel. And then these are her thumbnail roughs for that. And look at how nice the stage 1 and stage 2 thumbnail roughs look in her tear sheet, as well as Alea did these. Now look at how in Alea's here, she actually had this, which let me view this on single page so I can go fast forward this. So watch how I can go from here to here. So see how she actually showed her thumbnails in the finish stage, and then the next page was her execution stage, which was a wonderful way to show it. Now let's get right into the steps to create your thumbnail roughs. Now what I wanted to do prior to that was to show you that you don't have to do 4 up on a page. This student wanted to do long, slender ads. This student wanted to do, again, long, slender ads. So this student wanted to do billboard size ads. So this one would be better served on a landscape page with her thumbnails going left to right. So let's, instead of 4 up on a sheet, which you could absolutely do, let's make the template match this, okay? Now I'm going to give a little bit more space to the left and right. So let's close this and open Illustrator. And then in Adobe Illustrator, I'm going to go to File, New Page, or Command N or Control N. I'm going to click the print button on top, change points over here to inches, and then I'm going to make sure it's 8.5 by 11, but in landscape. You see where I click that? I'm going to say Create. Now, there's going to be a layer palette, which I'll put over here, just so I can start my layer palette process. And I really don't need all of these menu items for this simple exercise. So what I'm going to do is click the rectangle tool, which is the M key, and I'm going to base mine on my own 6 by 9 feel. So watch how I do that. So depending on what your size is, just click the rectangle tool. Now double click right here and put in your number. I said 6 by 9 inches. Now I have a rectangle that's 6 by 9 inches, but obviously it's too big for my small thumbnails. So I'm going to click the regular selection tool, ignore my phone, and I'm going to shift click and hold the shift key, and I'm going to make this smaller to a particular size. It doesn't really matter what size it is. What matters is, does it fit on a page going all the way across? So I'm going to hold the shift key down again, and I'm going to go like this. And now watch how I can actually make the line around. Look at this line thing. If it's not available, go to stroke here, and I'll bring my stroke palette wherever I put it on the screen. I can't find, yes I did, just find my stroke. So if you want to, go to 1 point on the stroke, and I don't really need a fill. So for those of you who have not been in Illustrator, this is fill over here, and this is the stroke. So if you want to color the stroke, you have to bring it in the front. If you want to color the fill or make it nothing, you have to bring it in the front. So now I'm going to click nothing. Now I'm going to zoom in on my page a little bit and put stroke down here. So what I'm going to do is just hit the E key. Now what is the E key? The regular selection tool means that if there's no fill, I have to grab it on a corner of it. See how I can move it by grabbing it on an edge? But if I hit the free transform tool, which is right, I never go over here, so it's the E key, it's the mesh tool. Mr. Soriel, it must be inside one of these. So let me find where my free transform tool is. Whoops, I think I just had it. Free transform was in the puppet warp tool. So free transform is right there. It's the E key. Now in the E key, it allows you to grab it anywhere inside the object, whether there is a fill or not. So now I'm going to put one on one side. Now, if you're on a PC, you can hold Control Alt, or on a Mac, Command Option. Look at how it turns into a double-headed arrow when I do that. Now I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to hold the Shift key, and I'm going to move it across and visually place it on the other side. If I need to make the box smaller so there can be a third one, fine, I'll make it smaller. Now what I'm going to do is click over to the selection tool, click this item right here, which is the regular selection tool, not the white or the hollow selection tool, the regular one. And I'm going to use my cursor keys and cursor it a little bit more to the left. I'll cursor that one a little bit more to the right. Now I'm going to hold Command Option. Look at how I did that. I'm holding Command Option or Control Alt on the edge of this because I'm in the selection tool. I'm now going to add the Shift key and put another one right here. Now, I wish I would make them a little bit smaller, and then I wish that I would center them nicely. So I'm going to make them just a tiny bit smaller by selecting them all. Don't worry about the missizes here. Here's the Scale tool. I'm going to double click it. In the Scale tool, I'm going to make sure that Scale, Strokes, and Effects is selected, and I'm going to put in here about 90%. So I'm scaling them down just a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm going to replace this one over to the left, so I click it. Now I can always use my cursor keys. I clicked it on the edge. I can always use my cursor keys, but if I click and hold the Shift key, whoops, I was in the Direct Select tool. I have to click to the Select tool. And I don't mind making a mistake in front of you, that's fine. So now in the regular Select tool, I can click and hold the Shift key and move it slightly over to this side. I can click and hold the Shift key now and move it slightly over to the right side, and just visually give myself a good balance here. I mean, I could do it mathematically, but it doesn't matter. Now watch how I can marquee all three of these, and I can go to the Align palette. So if I click and go to Window Align, I can bring the Align palette right up here. And in this one right here, this is Distribute Objects in the Center. As soon as I click it, watch how this one now shifted over beautifully. Now I have my three boxes with a 1-point stroke. Now, as was said in the class, I could do this and make the trim marks to one box and then just copy all those. So however you want to do that is fine with me. But I'm going to click this first box, go up to Object, Create Trim Marks. Now I'm going to click the second box, and I'm going to go to Object, Create Trim Marks. Now I'm going to click the third box, and I'm going to go to Object, Create Trim Marks. Now if your trim marks are too long, these are fine. If your trim marks are too long, especially in the center, I'm going to zoom in. Now if I click the Zoom tool, I can just click for right there. Now I can take the Direct Select tool. I want to show you what that one does. If I click on this stroke right here, right here, watch how I can click this point right here, right there, because it overlapped, and I can use my cursor keys and I can cursor that one a little bit to the left, from left to right. Now I can click this one and cursor it a little bit over here and shorten this one. Now let me do the same thing to this one. Let me click this one so that point is solid and move it over. Do I have to do this? I don't know, it just makes it look better. Now I click that one and I move it over, and look at how I have the trim marks a little bit shorter. Now you can repeat that process. It wouldn't take very long. You can go over here and click this one. Look at how I can actually click over here and make that one shorter. Now I can click down here and I can move it over about 7 times, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I have that one a little bit fine. That one looks good. Now I can do the same thing to here. Now I'll show you a little trick, okay? It's not a big deal. Don't panic on me. All I have to do is click this one, click that point, hold the Shift key, click this one, click that point with the Shift key, and I can move both of those points over. Now I can click this one on the bottom, hold the Shift key, click this one in the center of the little segment, and click this one with the Shift key down and move this one over. Now I've got it about the right size. Now I can click this one, click that left-hand point, hold the Shift key, click this one, keep the Shift key down and click that point. Now I can move them both over at the same time. Again, click that point, hold the Shift key, click that point, and move them over to the left. So do you see how Illustrator offers like a lot of really cool things? Now I'm going to leave mine like this, but I could have just done the whole fix. Let me show you what I could have done. Okay, I'm going to click this one and I'm going to click and move it over. I'm going to fix this one and put it where the other one was. Now if I wanted to custom make my trim marks really nice, pretend I didn't do these. So I'm going to marquee all of this and I'm going to hit the delete key. Now what I could have done is I could have made my crop marks a little bit better on this one. So watch how I could have hit the V key, figured out my crop marks on these. I have to hit the A key, I'm sorry. And I have to click and I can marquee just this much right here, and I can move these over. So I can move these over like this. I'll grab these down here by marqueing with the direct select tool. Look at how I'm making that look better. Now I can actually marquee a point with the hollow arrow. I can custom, what I'm trying to tell you is I can custom fit these. Look at how I'm doing that. And if I get these to a proper size, meaning if they're looking fairly decent from a graphic point of view, let me move both of these down. Look at how I'm doing that with the cursor keys. Now I'll marquee a box around these 2 points and use the cursor keys and move it down. Now I have one completely done. So if I marquee the whole thing and I go to the free transform tool, if I hold Command Option, I can now click that right there on the edge, hold the Shift key, and make a whole nother one go over to the other side. It's better to put it on the other side first. Now look at how I have 2 of them with the right crop marks. Now I can marquee both of this again. Now let me say it again. In the free transform tool or the regular selection tool, hold Control Alt or Command Option, click and hold on that segment, then add the Shift key and move your way across, and look at how now I can actually center this visually, and look at how I have a fairly decent set of thumbnails. Okay, so what I'm looking for is you to create your own thumbnail, excuse me, your own thumbnail template. However you want to do it, if you want 4 up on a page or 3 up on a page. So that's how to make Illustrator work. Now all you'd really have to do to save this is go to File, Save As, save it as a PDF so you can print to the printer as a PDF. And then you can do your thumbnails just like she has done these thumbnails right here, or Dominica did those thumbnails right here, and then you can scan them in the lab and you can send them to me in Canvas. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this, but that's actually how to make your own thumbnail. So remember, you can do 4 up or 3 up. Watch this movie over again if you have to, but let's go to Canvas now, and I'm going to have to log in, so I'm going to do it on my other screen, but I'm going to pause the video and log into Canvas. So let me I'm using Safari, which I don't like to use, but it's okay. I'm going to actually bring this over. Let's click Macomb right here, the EDU website. Let's click My Macomb, and now in 2 seconds I'm going to log in, and you will see me actually log in or go into Canvas and your class. Okay, I'm into Canvas. I've logged in, and I'm going to go to the Canvas module. Click the button down there on the left, and then let me wait for it to do its thing. Go into your course, which might be one of these Photoshop courses. Then I'm going to go into the module. Now it's not there because I haven't put it in there yet, but I am going to put the movie right in the week 4 design module. It'll be how to create a thumbnail template. Okay, that'll be more or less the name of the movie. So where you turn in your first stage thumbnails is right here. Okay, so you can turn them in, and I have no problem with you turning them in. All right. What I should do is I should show you that you need to have you can actually turn in and do 3 submissions in the same Dropbox. So you're going to have to make 3 different scans. I'll bring this back over and show you what I'm talking about again. See, she actually has 3 sheets of paper here. So for her first stage, she has 1, 2, 3. Make sure you name them properly, but then submit all 3 to the same Dropbox, one at a time. So you will be able to click the Dropbox. Mine will say submit. You just keep on saying, mine will say published. You just keep on clicking submit. Okay? That should do it. And if there's any issue, then we'll figure it out. Okay? Thank you.